It's been over a month since the initial announcement. We finally know the name of Nintendo's latest system, the Switch. The Wii U has been quietly discontinued since then, and now everybody's excited about Nintendo's latest foray into hardware. Gamers were also excited to note that the swan song for the Wii U, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, is also coming to the Switch as a launch title, both of which are coming out March 3rd. But this isn't the first time this has happened. See, this happened about 10 years ago on my go-to console for what's considered the sixth generation of consoles, the GameCube. Its swan song was The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and well, Nintendo saw fit to actually make it as a launch title for its entry into the seventh generation of consoles, the Wii. Nintendo also saw fit to remaster the two major Zelda game titles on the GameCube for the Wii U. So, as a send-off to the Wii U, and before the new system comes out, I decided I'm going to go ahead and review what I consider, at the time of this review of course, the best 3D Zelda game ever made. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess was released on Nintendo's Wii console on November 19, 2006 in the United States, with its GameCube release happening almost a month later. This particular version, the HD Remaster Wii U release, came out in March of 2016. The story build-up isn't as simple as other Zelda games. Link resides in the village of Ordon, where his life consists of running errands with his friend and teacher, whistling for horses, and herding goats. Invaders come in later on and capture the children of the village. Link gives chase, but then he runs into a giant wall of something weird and dark-ish. A hand comes out, pulling him through the wall and depositing him into this twilight-filled, eye-stressing version of this world. Of course, since he's the chosen one, the Triforce within him glows, and as a result of it conflicting with the environment trying to turn him into a spirit, he instead gets turned into a wolf in what looks like a really painful transformation sequence. Link needs to figure out how to return to human form, escape his captors, and figure out why this little imp thing has decided that he's the best thing to follow around. As this is an HD remake, there's not much that's new to this version of a game that's already 10 years old. So I'm going to go through a lot of the things that made me want to buy this game all over again, as well as make a bold claim at the beginning of the video that's going to make a lot of Ocarina of Time fanboys go nuts. For its time, and I personally think since, Twilight Princess is the biggest 3D Zelda game to date. Not only did it have large areas to run around in, but it sported many dungeons as well. The whole game made you feel very tiny in this extremely large world. You have the usual differing zones that make you wonder how big this land really is, and each part is unique enough that it doesn't look like Ocarina of Time 2.0. Sure, there are plenty of parallels. You have your forest area, you have your large grassy plains hub area, you have your mountainous area where you hope not to lose your footing down the mountain, you have your desert area, you got all the basics covered. But Twilight Princess at least makes them feel different from the last few outings in 3 dimensions. The music in Twilight Princess was very good, but thankfully for the remake, Nintendo decided to remaster the music using the orchestral arrangements made famous by the Zelda Symphony Tour. There's still some old GameCube MIDI running around in there. Not every track needed to be remastered, but it's great to hear the main Hyrule theme sound bolder and more epic than it did 10 years ago. And back then, it sounded pretty epic. Even the story works pretty well. While it does boil down to having Link save Hyrule from the big bad evil, and you can take a couple of guesses as to who that is, the way the story is told is very good. You'll run into kingdoms where the royalty have been taken out permanently, sympathetic creatures who have been twisted into evil abominations, and small towns just trying to get by after being attacked by creatures both native and alien to Hyrule. All of this stuff builds to the eventual climax of taking out the big bad, and it's one crazy, enjoyable romp.
I know, I'm gushing, but for me it's hard not to. I really like this game. It was fun 10 years ago and it's still fun now for me. But this is a review show, and my pedantic nature requires me to find as much as it can to pick on. And you know what? I have!
Unlike Wind Waker's graphics, which can actually look good through a render due to its cel-shaded nature, Twilight Princess's graphics were very low resolution. After all, this was a game that had been released in the middle of this whole switchover from old tube televisions to the flat panel displays we're used to today. This means the whole game had to be updated texture-wise. This didn't translate too well. I mean, it looks better, yes, but it's certainly nowhere near as detailed as some HD remakes, and to me, this means it's more of a patch job than a full rebuilding of the game, graphically speaking. I can, however, complain about something that hasn't been fixed up since the original game, and that would be the controls. Now, since this game is built off the GameCube version of the game, I'm not going to be complaining that I can't use the Wii remote and swing the thing around so I can be a video game weed whacker. No, it's a problem I've had with a lot of 3D movement, and it's certainly not fixed here. Usually it rears its ugly head when I'm actually trying to aim for something and I overshoot. Usually when I'm in wolf form. Either that or I'll move somewhere and the camera will go nuts and I'll dive off the edge by accident. Platforming mechanics have never been really good in almost any 3D game, and Twilight Princess, whether it's in HD or not, is no exception. The extra amiibo content is a sort of survival tower rush thing where you go through 50 floors of differing enemy types, it being called the Cave of Shadows. The only thing about it is that you're stuck in wolf mode the entire time, which makes sense, as the only way to access it is through the Wolf Link amiibo you saw me hold earlier in the intro. What's interesting about it is that you have to go through it 3 times in order to complete it, each time giving you a different reward. The eventual reward is a little helpful, but the journey to get there is a bit frustrating if you don't know what you're doing. Couple that with the already funky controls in wolf mode, and you're going to be going nuts. Fortunately, this is completely optional, but completionists will go crazy over trying to go through the gauntlet.
So while I can still make this bold claim, and hope that my shipment from Amazon comes in on time, I'm going to go ahead and ask the question that about 60 of you were interested in. Is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD worth your cash?
The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD is still priced around $60 for the retail version of the game with the amiibo, with the digital version on the Nintendo eShop going for around $50. You'd be hard-pressed to find the game without the amiibo, and with the Wii U going away, used versions seem to go around $40 to $50. Honestly, this is a full-priced game. $40 to $50 gives both new players and veterans of the old game a huge adventure, and if you manage to get your hands on the amiibo, the information from Twilight Princess HD can apparently be brought over to Breath of the Wild, but don't quote me on that. Overall, this is a fantastic game, and I think you should get your hands on it.
Twilight Princess was one of those games I was really excited about when I first saw the trailer all those many years ago, back when I somehow managed to get into E3. Anyway, it was a very different romp through Hyrule, and it made me realize we could happily move on from the N64 generation of Zelda games. The amiibo functionality might be a little trite, but you know what? I don't care. I'm happy I got the physical version. It didn't get in the way of the main story, and you know what? Twilight Princess is as good now as it was 10 years ago. It's going to take a lot to dethrone what I feel is the best 3D Zelda game ever made. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is the first time I'm doing one of these little outro things while the things are scrolling by. Anyway, I really wanted to get Twilight Princess HD out before Breath of the Wild came out, so I'm glad I got this done. Like it if you like it, hit that subscribe button, and click on that little bell thing so you get all the updates from me whenever I finally get to it. I've got some stuff in the pipeline soon. Look forward to seeing it. Ugh. I can't end these things well. I'm terrible at it. Seriously. Look forward to the next video. See, this is why I can't promo in wrestling sometimes. I lose track.